Shadow is a well-known assassin recognized for his deadly skills and his unwavering commitment to completing every job he takes. Accompanying him is Alexia, a fairy he saved during his journey. Between them lies an unspoken bond, one that both refuse to express. The combination of their assignments and their closeness has forged a strong connection. However, something has to give sooner or later. On a cold, rainy night, they find themselves on yet another mission, but this one will differ from the rest. It can potentially change their lives in profound ways, forcing them to confront their feelings or risk being consumed by the dangers ahead. During this night, Shadow discovers that he is not just the deadliest assassin. His family bloodline traces back to royalty 300 years ago. He must reclaim his rightful place on the throne to save thousands from impending doom. Faced with this choice, Shadow must decide. Will he take his place among the royal family that died off so long ago and save the people, or will he choose to remain as he is alongside Alexia, suppressing his true feelings because their lives seem incompatible? Chapter 1. In the Darkness. Obscured by an impenetrable night black, it was darker than usual. Southward, ominous black rain clouds, heavy with moisture, blotted out the moon and stars. Initially, there was a gentle drizzle, but the downpour intensified with terrifying speed, transforming into a deluge threatening to inundate the village. Shadow knelt between two rudimentary shelters, his eyes closed, a silent observer amidst the frantic activity. He heard the villagers' desperate rush for safety, their hurried movements a counterpoint to his stillness, his patience a weapon against the storm. The encroaching flood seeped into his boots and trousers. The puddle beneath him expanded, a chilling mirror to his growing unease. So much for remaining dry, he mused, the thought a fleeting interruption to his vigil. Perhaps it is time to relocate before this watery grave consumes me. Then a soft yet insistent voice cut through the storm's roar.
"What are you doing, Shadow?"
He inhaled deeply, his exhale slow and measured.
We have time, Alexia. The house lights still blaze brightly. The village streets are teeming with people. We must remain unseen.
Alexia, perched on his shoulder, arms folded, regarded him with unconcealed disapproval, her nose tilted in disdain. He extended his hand, palm up, an offering. Alexia hesitated, a silent battle waged in her emerald eyes. Reluctantly, she dismounted, gracefully alighting on his outstretched palm. As he watched her land, a familiar wave of introspection washed over him. He gazed at her, the old questions returning. Who is she? What is her place in this world? He felt himself drifting, his thoughts a current pulling him away from the present, lost in the enigma of her being. Her long white braids, intricately woven, framed a face of startling beauty. They cascaded down her cheeks, framing her pointed ears, and curved delicately over her breasts. Her dark emerald eyes, however, held a power that transcended mere beauty. They possessed the intensity to pierce his soul, to unveil his deepest vulnerabilities. When her gaze fell upon him in anger, it was as if she saw him through and through, forcing him to avert his eyes, fearing exposure of his true nature. Her attire defied the image of a typical fairy. Its opulence suggested a lineage far beyond the ordinary. He, unfamiliar with her kind's everyday garb, concluded she must be royalty. A sapphire, nestled in silver, adorned her brow, secured by delicate chains woven through her hair. A diamond-studded lace choker encircled her neck, from which a silver chain descended, attaching to a second sapphire embedded in her bodice near the cleavage. Two more sapphires, similarly mounted, graced her breasts, their silver chains subtly straining against the fabric. Her form, petite yet voluptuous, was breathtaking. The short white leather dress, cinched at the waist by a corset, displayed a stunning interplay of light blue snowflake lace and stripes, accentuating her youthful figure. The hem, a cascade of light silk, shot through with midnight blue, ended mid-thigh. Intricate as spiderwebs, crystal gauntlets adorned her hands, mirroring the crystalline embellishments on her white leather boots. But it was her wings that stole his breath. Pale blue, edged in black with subtle darker markings, was a spectacle of ethereal beauty. He had never witnessed such captivating loveliness. His mind lingered on her regal bearing until Alexia's sharp voice jolted him back to reality. The heel of her boot descended forcefully on his hand.
Yes,
He responded quickly. Alexia's piercing green gaze assessed him.
No one remains.
She declared, gesturing toward the town square. Then, with a frown, she demanded,
What's wrong with you?
nothing, Alexia. I was lost in thought.
Alexia stood before him, cloaked in her favorite garment, a black outer layer concealing luxurious dark blue silk lining, a garment she considered indispensable. The cloak's generous hood draped between her wings as she spoke. Returning to Shadow's side, she perched, her words laced with weariness.
Is this the final assignment?
She questioned, the strain etched onto her features.
I can't endure this much longer.
Internally, she wrestled with her conflicting emotions. Despite her revulsion for their work, she couldn't imagine life without him. Shadow, lost in contemplation, sensed her distress. He yearned to offer solace, but honesty felt impossible. He chose his words carefully, a balm masking a more profound truth.
I comprehend your feelings,
He acknowledged, his voice a low rumble.
but servitude to others is unacceptable. A few more lucrative contracts, and we'll embrace a prolonged respite.
He knew this life was antithetical to her nature. She embodied everything he wasn't, a stark contrast that made their enduring bond both baffling and precious. Focusing on her, he suggested,
Perhaps you should remain here until the task concludes.
the idea of separation was unbearable to Alexia. She curled into a fetal position, her arms hugging her knees.
No,
She whispered, her voice choked with emotion.
as long as it's only a few more assignments. But promise me, Shadow, that this existence will end.
He glanced at her, her exquisite features illuminated by the fading light. Her vibrant green eyes met his, their luminous beauty striking even in the encroaching twilight. A fleeting smile touched his lips.
Soon, Alexia.
He murmured, the promise both heartfelt and laced with uncertainty. Turning back towards the village, he felt a surge of grim determination. Now, alone, he could finally fulfill the undertaking that bound him. Shadow straightened, his assassin's blade settling more comfortably against his hip. Alexia, perched on his shoulder, had discarded her cloak. Its hood lay discarded, unnecessary, beneath Shadow's own, shielding them from the relentless downpour. The rain hammered the makeshift village, creating a symphony of drumming on wood and gurgling in the burgeoning puddles. He moved like a wraith between the ramshackle dwellings, a silent predator stalking his prey at the village's far end. His progress was swift and furtive, unseen by the villagers huddled within, their gaze fixed on the torrential deluge. Reaching the target's dilapidated dwelling, he circled it, searching for an inconspicuous entry point. His eyes fell upon a cellar door, heavy, double-doored and opening outward. An ideal ingress. Seems promising,
Your thoughts, Alexia?
he murmured, hand hovering over the handles. Her silence was heavy, pregnant with unspoken apprehension. He paused, a flicker of concern in his gaze.
What troubles you, Alexia?
Her voice, barely a whisper, betrayed her unease.
This feels wrong. Perhaps we should postpone, or abandon this entirely. I sense a profound shift in the air, a premonition of irreversible change.
Shadow fought against a similar disquiet, masking his unease. He couldn't afford to let her doubts sway him. Their bond, though unspoken, was a fragile thing. Despite his unsettling pull towards her, he knew maintaining emotional distance was paramount.
Nonsense.
he said, his tone firm, reassuring.
It's nothing unusual. We've undertaken far riskier missions.
Alexia's gaze dropped, a nameless dread clinging to her. A low murmur escaped her lips.
But this feels different. Irrevocably different.
The feeling lingered, a palpable sense of impending loss, of something precious about to slip irretrievably away. The cellar door groaned open, unleashing a frigid gust that stirred dust into a spectral haze. Darkness enveloped Alexia, absolute and suffocating. Her grip on Shadow's collar tightened, a desperate vice that startled him.
Easy.
He murmured, his voice calming in the oppressive gloom. His night vision was a stark contrast to her terror. She trembled against him, her fear palpable in the fierce grip on his shirt.
Anything?
She breathed. He scanned the cavernous space, identifying a few forgotten bins and discarded refuse huddled in a corner, but his gaze settled on a far door. Each deliberate step dislodged swirling dust motes from beneath his boots. As they approached, faint candlelight filtered through cracks, and the bottom of the door painted a tantalizing glimpse of the other side. The light's hesitant dance hinted at a nearby presence, its shifting glow betraying the movement of someone passing. Its muted glimmer indicated the door didn't lead directly into the illuminated room, offering a chance for unseen entry.
Ready?
Shadow whispered, his voice low and cautious. Alexia's silent nod was her affirmation. He eased the door open with excruciating slowness, slipping into the room like a wraith. A man's monologue filled the air, a low hum against the quiet. Shadow moved towards the flickering light, revealing an elderly gentleman seated at a table beneath a window, the table aligned with the wall, a solitary figure bathed in the soft, wavering glow of the candle. In the shadows, Shadow observed the elderly gentleman engrossed in his book. The scenario was ideal. His back was turned, his attention wholly captivated. Silently, Shadow drew his blade, initiating his approach. But the old man's voice halted him at his third step.
After all these years, you've arrived.
Stunned, Shadow froze. This was unprecedented. How could he possibly know? Before he could respond, the old man turned, a surprising gentleness in his voice.
Come closer, my boy. I long to see you now that you've matured.
Shadow approached the man seated at the table, dismissing the cobbler as inconsequential. The old man's curt response shattered Shadow's assumptions.
Not your foster father, boy. I speak of your biological sire.
A flush crept up Shadow's neck, his patience thinned.
Have you experienced peculiar dreams? Visions of a royal court, perhaps, or a fearsome dragon?
The query hung in the air. Shadow, sensing the man's purpose, replied with a weighty nod. The old man, his voice low and resonant, offered an enigmatic promise.
I hold the key to those dreams, the answers to your past. Let me illuminate your path.
He gestured to the table. Shadow, his back to the wall, remained wary. A hefty tome in hand, the old man placed it before Shadow with a groan.
Age weighs heavily,
He chuckled, rubbing his aching back. Shadow's internal monologue raged. Old age or a ruse. Vigilance is paramount. The old man, Cedric, revealed his identity, a former advisor to Shadow's father.
Instead of protracted explanations, Zane,
Cedric said, his gaze intense.
this book contains your history.
Zane?
Shadow echoed, stunned.
Your true name, bestowed by your father,
Cedric confirmed, nudging the book closer. Shadow hesitated. Does he expect an immediate, exhaustive reading? He grasped the book, his fingers tracing its enigmatic cover. Cedric's smile was both encouraging and unsettling.
Merely open it, my son.
he urged. With a trembling hand, Shadow unfurled the cover. A blinding radiance erupted from within, forcing him to shield his eyes. The intense light quickly faded, replaced by the comforting warmth of the sun on his skin and a gentle breeze caressing his face. Slowly, cautiously, Shadow opened his eyes. This is the blurb and the first chapter of my book. I hope you enjoy it and look forward to following Shadow and his companions on a journey that will change their lives forever. The journey will uncover even more secrets about Shadow and his past, secrets that will shock the reader.